Good morning. We are really excited in Palm Beach to have Vanderbilt University come and put an outpost, basically, in our neighborhood.
Thank you.
Now that Palm Beach and the Palm Beach is referred to as Wall Street South and pretty soon Silicon Valley East, a lot is happening in our market. And from that, to have Vanderbilt take a stake and put a stake in the ground in West Palm Beach. Chancellor, why are you doing that? What motivated you to do that with you when you have outposts in other areas of the country?
Well, thank you for having me, and it's good to see all of you this morning. The way we're thinking about this really is what will it take to be a great university for the 21st century? And we think that there are a couple of things you have to get right. The first thing is you have to be absolutely clear about your mission and values are, and I think that's something we're going to talk about. You need to be well run, and that's critical to make sure that from every business function that you have, this is done at the highest possible level. And then you need to think about how do you play an important role in the innovation economy. Universities are already a key component, maybe the beating heart of the innovation economy. So many innovations that we take for granted, whether it's the biomedical side, communication technology, national security, all came out of universities. But to make this work, you need to really have a close partnership between the community and the university. Things need to be permeable, if you will. And when that happens, magic can happen. But that means now where you are matters. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be world-class in healthcare management, it's great to be in Nashville. If you want to be world-class in finance and innovation, you want to be in an area that that provides an opportunity to take the next step in financial innovation. And that's what when we looked at South Florida and West Palm Beach, we were very excited about the opportunities there. We thought this would be a place where we would welcome and where we could play an important role. And just to be clear, this is a bold move. So we're looking not some kind of small outpost, but this would be 100 faculty, 1,000 students. It's a big commitment.
Given, and you've spoken about this in other places, given what's happened globally, I guess, with universities, public trust in higher education, it's declined significantly in recent years. From your perspective, what's driving the erosion, and what can you do to rebuild that trust?
Yeah, so we've seen a dramatic erosion of trust, almost a collapse in higher education. That's true on the left and on the right. On the right, it has been catastrophic. I mean, trust among conservatives has basically been cut in half in the last 5 years. There are serious concerns over politicization of higher education, kind of ideological drift, intellectual homogeneity. People use different words for that, but they all point to the same area. We've been very vocal on that. We think that on the one hand, universities need to tell the story of why they are great and why they provide tremendous benefits for the American public more effectively. We just launched a new coalition called Innovate America. We need to remind the American public why investing in research universities is critical. But then there are also things that need to be fixed. And we need to go back to the core purpose of university, which is to provide path-breaking research and transformative education and focus on that. Universities are universities, they're not political parties.
You've mentioned about reform in higher education. What does reforming look like, and what does the reformed university look like? What are the steps towards that? And it's probably total in nature and holistic altogether, correct?
100%. I mean, number one is you need to be super clear about your purpose and your values, and then you need to operationalize them, and you need to communicate them. So we, for example, have a strong commitment to free expression on campus. The first one is we call open forums, which means that our students and faculty can explore ideas freely without concern over retribution or censorship. We have a commitment to institutional neutrality, which means that we will not take position on contested political or policy issues unless they directly and materially affect the working of the university. And we have a commitment to civil discourse, which means that our students and our faculty remember and pledge that they join a living learning community where they treat each other with respect, where they listen to each other, where they use fact-based arguments and reason, and where we not ostracize each other just because we have a different point of view. Those things you would think are straightforward and are kind of mom and apple pie, but we have really strayed in many universities from these principles, and it's absolutely critical to make sure that they drive everything in what you do. And then when students, for example, arrive on campus, we need to have educational and programs so that they are part of this culture and live the culture every day. That's critical.
You talk about students arriving to campus and the many different programs and degrees that you can get from Vanderbilt. One of the things we wanted to talk about today is research and how vital research is to the development of U.S. sovereignty and global leadership. And Vanderbilt truly is a leader in that area. So I'm assuming that is a major focus of yours on a continuous basis.
100%. The American Research University is one of the treasures of the country and really, the envy of the world. So many other countries are aspire to have the same level of research excellence. And for every dollar that the taxpayer invests in federal research funding, the American public gets $5 back. It's a tremendous, tremendous benefit. And so what that means for us is that we need to continue to invest at the research at the cutting edge, which is often areas where the private sector won't or wouldn't because the areas are too risky and still too, kind of at the frontier of what's possible. We are one of the biomedical powerhouses in the country. We have one of the best medical schools in the country, but we're also investing in areas now, for example, National Security Institute, which is led by Paul Nakasone, the former head of NSA and US Cyber Command. That's on national security and technology. We're also having created our first new college in 45 years, College of Connected Computing, where we brought in the former head of the Robotics Institute at Carnegie Mellon to envision a school at university, a college, where every student is exposed to data science and AI. So it's kind of like a computing for all vision, and that's being put together right now as well. Universities need to stay in the forefront on that. They need to constantly be involved in new areas of knowledge and then make a contribution there.
I think what you just said was some of these different kinds of partnerships. There are all kinds of partnerships, public-private partnerships. What is the role of the university driving innovation and growth, including critical partnerships with businesses and government? So it's not just university to university, but businesses, government, and the university as partners in some of these areas.
Yeah, so we just formed the National Innovation Alliance together with the Mayor's Office. And that means we're totally integrated, we're totally connected and in partnership with the city on finding new solutions for the challenges they have. For example, on traffic. So we have the biggest live experiment on understanding phantom traffic jams. It's like, when you're stuck in a traffic jam and there's no reason. Why is that? So researchers are doing this by studying real traffic flow patterns. And those are things that help for communities, but the resources and the firepower, the intellectual firepower, is way beyond anything that a community can invest in. We do similar things with Nissan, which is a big car company, of course, close by. We do it with Fort Campbell, which is an Army base about an hour away, home of the 101st Airborne Special Ops and Special Commands. So we're very open about partnering. And the key thing is you need to sit together, figure out what works for you, what works for us, and then have a plan and commitment to get it done.
So specific to Palm Beach and the Palm Beaches, workforce development. What is your vision? What is your plan for this campus? Of course, the workforce is changing in the Palm Beaches. A lot more high tech is coming in. ServiceNow has just announced they're going to have 1,000 employees in downtown West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
AI, Wall Street South. There's a lot going on there. What do you want to do for workforce development specifically with this campus? What do you hope to accomplish with that?
Absolutely. So I was at Stanford from 94 to 97 at the business school. This was my first faculty role, and you could see that if you have a great university that is in tune, in touch, aligned with the community, that magic can happen. And we're really striving for for similar impact in West Palm Beach. As you mentioned, West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County in general has become a destination for companies and individuals that want to work in finance at the cutting edge of that. So we love the positioning on finance and innovation. The whole region is exploding. I mean, it goes all the way down to kind of South Florida. Tremendous influx of talent, tremendous influx of businesses. I mean, almost every big investment bank now has a large presence there. Hedge funds, asset management companies are relocating. And they need a partner that is a world-class research university for two reasons. One, to do research together, to figure things out, to have partnerships like we discussed. And secondly, because you want to be a magnet for talent. And universities are magnets for talent. For us in this particular, as I mentioned, 100 faculty, 1,000 students, that will be graduate students, but we also want to be a destination for undergraduates that have that may start at the Nashville campus and may want to spend a year there, kind of like study away. In Florida, PhD students, it's a significant investment. Our first step will be in the area of finance and innovation, but then we want to broaden it to other areas as well. Something we're looking at is the emergence of the space economy, and of course Florida is one of the leaders there. Dave Limp, the CEO of Blue Origin, is one of our alums at Vanderbilt, so there are opportunities going beyond the finance and innovation focus, but that's our core at the beginning.
So we have a few minutes left, Chancellor, and a question that I've been thinking about looking at the different things we can speak about today. 10 years ahead, it's always hard to think about 10 years ahead, but if you think about this, what do you hope people will say that has fundamentally changed 10 years from now about higher education and the challenges that have come about, especially most recently? What would it look like 10 years from now?
Look, this is the biggest crisis we've had in higher education, certainly in my lifetime. Longer, probably goes further back than that. We need to rebuild trust in higher education. We will not fix the political challenges that we have right now if we're not able to create an environment where people trust higher education right now. And it is utterly clear, I spend every other week in Washington right now, is that when you talk to people, particularly on the conservative side, but also on the more liberal side, they have different concerns, mostly about inequality. We talk to people on the conservative side, the trust is dramatically eroded. I mean, there's really a sense that this is a quote, almost a quote, but one member of Congress told me, we're giving you billions of dollars and you're creating graduates that are un-American. That is a big charge, and we absolutely must do that, must address that. And that takes two things: being more clear about our mission. Three things: be clear about our mission, talk about it clearly, and then make sure, as there are problems, and if there are problems on campus, and they need to be fixed.
Interesting question from the audience, and thank you for sending this in. This comes up, it seems to come up every day in the news, and it's about free speech. What principles do you believe should guide free speech on a campus today? What are the principles?
Yes, so this is a little bit to what I said before. So number one, I mentioned this before, is like institutional neutrality, which means that universities are platforms for discourse. They're not places that took positions on one side or the other. There's been drift among universities. Universities have been willing to take positions on one side or the other side of the political spectrum. That is a terrible idea. And that also means we should stop using the endowment for position taking. So that creates a tremendous sort of strife on campus. It was a key element that fueled the conflict after October 7th. That's number one. Number two, a commitment to civil discourse, is that we're members of one community, and that we're not ostracizing each other just because we disagree. And when our students arrive on campus, they join a pledge. They sign a pledge, which we call the Community Creed, that embodies those values, and they need to be stewards of that. And so we spent the first 2 to 3 weeks just to help them build trust in each other so that they can be important leaders in maintaining and strengthening and fostering a free speech culture. So these are critical components. It's super important to have a commitment to free speech on campus, but there are other elements to that: the culture, the lack of position taking that are often overlooked. All these three things need to work in concert, and then you can have a proper free speech culture on campus.
Chancellor, thank you for coming today. We look forward to welcoming you to the Palm Beaches, and we wish you much success.
We're very excited, and thank you for the partnership. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.